You've probably heard of it, the dark web. It sounds like something straight out of a spy movie, right? A hidden digital world full of hackers and secrets. But what is it really? Well, it's a place of deep mystery and, honestly, even deeper misconceptions. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and shine a light on how it all works, who's using it, and the crazy high-stakes game to police it.
So, let's start with a number that might just blow your mind. 3.2 million. That's the average number of people using the dark web every single day. This is not some tiny, forgotten corner of the internet, folks. It is a bustling global network. And to understand what draws millions of people into these shadows, we first have to understand the technology that actually creates them. All right, so to really get a grip on the dark web, we need to go beyond what we call the surface web. That's the internet you and I use every day with browsers like Google Chrome. We've got to look at the clever and pretty controversial technology that powers this hidden layer of our digital world.
So what is it exactly? Well, put simply, the dark web is a part of the internet that your standard search engines just can't see or index. You can't just stumble upon it. You need specific software to get in, and the most common one by far is the Tor browser. Think of it like a hidden network that's built on top of the regular internet, and it was designed from the ground up for one primary reason: total anonymity. The secret sauce that makes all this anonymity possible is a technology called onion routing. And it's actually brilliant in its simplicity. When you use Tor, your internet traffic gets wrapped up in multiple layers of encryption, like an onion, right? Then it gets bounced between at least 3 random computer relays run by volunteers all over the world. Each relay only peels off one single layer of encryption to know where to send the data next. Now here's the crucial part. No single relay in that chain knows the full path from where you started to where you're going. This makes it incredibly difficult to trace anyone's activity back to them.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because that powerful anonymity creates a fascinating duality. On one hand, Tor is an absolutely essential tool for good. It's used by activists living under authoritarian regimes, by journalists talking with sensitive sources, and by whistleblowers who need to share critical information without fearing for their safety. But on the other hand, that very same shield of privacy is exploited by cybercriminals for all sorts of illegal activities, and even by state-sponsored actors to launch attacks, all while hiding their tracks. And that criminal element, well, it's given rise to this sprawling, hidden economy. The dark web isn't just a place to hide anymore. For a lot of people, it's a place to do business. So let's take a look at the anatomy of these underground marketplaces. And this isn't some abstract idea, okay? This is very, very real. What we're looking at here is a post on an underground forum. And what are they selling? Access. Specifically, access to 5 different corporate networks. The starting bid is just $800. This is the world of what they call initial access brokers. Criminals who specialize in breaking into networks and then just selling that access to the highest bidder. This really shows you the whole ecosystem at work. I mean, once an attacker buys that network access, what do they do with it? Well, here you can see forum members just openly discussing the best ways to monetize it. They're weighing the pros and cons of different schemes, from ransomware to insider trading, treating it like it's a business strategy session. But it's all happening out in the open on these hidden forums. And, this criminal economy is incredibly diverse. You've got these huge marketplaces for stolen personal data, like credit card numbers. You've got the booming industry of ransomware as a service, where developers literally rent out their malicious software. You have services designed specifically to launder cryptocurrency, hiding the trail of dirty money. And of course, there's the sale of everything from illegal drugs to super sophisticated hacking tools. So, with all this activity supposedly protected by Tor's onion routing, it sounds like an unbreakable fortress of anonymity, doesn't it? But what if it's not? What if there are actually cracks in that shield? Let's just ask that question directly. Is the anonymity that the dark web promises truly unbreakable? Well, as it turns out, the answer to that is a resounding no. You see, the biggest weakness of Tor isn't some secret flaw in the code itself. According to some really deep academic analysis, the #1 vulnerability is the person sitting at the keyboard. This quote just sums it up perfectly. Human errors frequently lead to de-anonymization. The technology can be almost perfect, but people are not. And what kind of human errors are we talking about? Honestly, a lot of them are surprisingly simple mistakes. An operator might reuse the same username on a dark web forum that they use on Twitter. A photo they upload might have hidden data in it revealing their location. They might mess up their server configuration and accidentally expose its real IP address. Even something as simple as logging into your personal Facebook account while using Tor can link all your anonymous activity right back to your real identity. These little slip-ups, they're the threads that investigators just love to pull on.
And that brings us to the other side of this whole cat and mouse game. How do law enforcement agencies turn these tiny little mistakes into actual arrests? Let's look at how they manage to unmask the ghosts in the machine.
One of the most powerful and, yeah, most controversial tools they have is the Network Investigative Technique, or NIT. This is essentially a warrant that lets law enforcement hack the hackers. They deploy a piece of malware that exploits a browser vulnerability to bypass all of Tor's protections and send a user's real IP address right back to the investigators. For example, some agencies use these man-on-the-side attacks to inject malicious packets into a target's web traffic, redirecting them to exploit servers, like the NSA's infamous system codenamed Foxacid, which then unmask the user. The most famous use of this was in Operation Pacifier, where the FBI unmasked over 1,000 users of a child exploitation site.
Next up is just good old-fashioned detective work, but updated for the digital age. It's called Open Source Intelligence, or OSINT. Investigators will meticulously scour public information, social media profiles, public records, forum posts on the regular internet, looking for any little scrap of data that can link a dark web alias to a real person. That reused username, that comment about a local sports team, it all becomes evidence. And what about the money? Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are often thought of as untraceable, but that's a myth. Every single transaction is recorded on a public ledger called the blockchain, and using powerful analysis software, investigators can follow the money. They trace illicit payments as they move from wallet to wallet, until eventually they land in a crypto exchange where a user might have had to provide real ID to cash out. Game over.
And believe me, these techniques get results. We have seen massive takedowns that prove it. The shutdown of Alphabet was this incredible masterpiece of international coordination. In the Hansa Market takedown, authorities cleverly took control of the site and ran it themselves for weeks, just gathering intel on thousands of users. And we already mentioned Playpen, a landmark case for using Knights. The message from law enforcement is crystal clear. Nobody is untouchable. All of this really leads to a fundamental conflict that's right at the heart of the internet, this tension between our need for privacy and the need for policing. So what does the future hold for this ongoing battle? Let's look at one more number, 5,000. In a recent international operation, 2 affiliates of a major ransomware gang were arrested. Those 2 people alone were allegedly responsible for over 5,000 infections, causing just immense financial and social damage. This really highlights the real-world stakes. The fight against dark web crime isn't just about code. It's about preventing very tangible harm.
This brings us right up to where we are today. The dark web continues to be a hub for this stuff, but law enforcement's capabilities are growing just as fast. The days of guaranteed impunity are long gone. It has become a high-stakes game of technological and strategic chess, where investigators are using every single tool at their disposal to pierce that veil of anonymity. Which leaves us with a final, really critical question. In this endless technological arms race between our desire for privacy and society's need for policing, is there a clear winner? As technology evolves, giving new powers to both those who hide and those who hunt, who truly holds the ultimate advantage? That is the core conflict at the heart of the modern internet.